Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about the latest version of MindExpress, which is 4.4.1, and we're actually currently looking at one of the new MindExpress vocabularies called SCORE. It's a very powerful communication software actually that allows you to construct sentences in a grammatically correct way. So I'm going to construct a new sentence like this, and I'm going to show you one of the first new features or additions in this version, and it's about saving a message in a dynamic list. So now that I've created my message, I'm going to press the save button here, and this will actually take the message from the message area and store it in the first empty cell of this dynamic list. Now, if you look at how this is programmed, it's quite simple. If you look at the save button, you'll see that it has a dynamic list action called add message box to list. And then we need to specify, of course, in what list the message should be saved. In this case, SCORE notes. Okay, and so as soon as I press the save button, it will save it in the first empty slot. The great thing about this is you can save or store multiple messages into the dynamic list, and there's actually no store limit. So you can keep storing messages, and you can simply browse through your messages using these scroll buttons at the bottom. Added benefit is that you can use the delete option to delete existing dynamic list messages. So this is great, and the new thing about this, because this was actually an existing action, but the new thing about this is that the entire message is saved as a whole. So you're no longer losing symbols, because that was the case with the previous version of this action. You would only retain like 3, 4, 5 images, but now the entire structure of your message and the entire layout, all the symbols, it's all saved. So if I now get this message, you will see that it's exactly the same as it was before. So that's a really neat addition. The other thing I want to show you in this file is about the internet window. So if I go to YouTube, you can see that there is a browser window that opens up here in the dynamic part of SCORE. And as soon as I move my mouse around this, you will notice that the focus is jumping around. Yeah, that's because the internet window is reacting on my mouse. Now, this can be very annoying if you're, for example, an eye track user and you're looking at the browser window, then you will suddenly start moving things around in your browser window. Now, sometimes that's absolutely not what you want, and to avoid this, you can actually make the internet window non-selectable now. And if you do that, you will notice that my mouse no longer has any influence on the browser window. So I can no longer click, I can no longer move focus. Focus just stays on whatever I want it to be, and I can just start playing a movie. So simply by making the internet window non-selectable, you avoid this problem. Great. Let's have a look at another sample for the next new feature, and that feature has to do with using number keys of your keyboard to access cells in mouse mode. Now, for example, if I press the number 3 key on my keyboard,
elephant. No, that's wrong.
I'm actually selecting the elephant cell. You can do this with number keys on your keyboard. You can do this by using the woodpecker switch interface. You can also do this with any other switch interface, as long as that interface allows you to send number keys to the active application. Now, you can use this new feature to make quizzes, to select the correct answer in a quiz, for example, but you can also use it to do other stuff. I could use it to start a video.
Who are you?
Or I could use it to pause the video while I press a button and then unpause as soon as I release the button. so. Now the way we do this is we create cells on our page with specific cell IDs. Now, for example, if you have a look at this cell over here, we will see that it will start playing a movie from the media library, and it is specified as WP and then 1 for the number key 1. So always start with WP, that's the indicator for MineExpress to know, okay, I have to react on the number key, in this case number key 1, and as soon as I press the number 1 key, it will react. You can also react on the release of the key, and that's what I've done here. So we have WP2 for the number 2 key, and then underscore release. And then you will see that music and video play action will be executed, and on the WP2 we will pause. So as soon as we press the number 2 key, it will pause. As soon as we release the number 2 key, it will play the video. It will continue playing. So by using this, and we can also see this here, so in this case we're reacting on the press of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So always specify the cell with the specific ID WP, and then you should be fine, and you can use this to your advantage. Okay, great. And then one final thing I want to show you has to do with animation of cells in MineExpress. Now we've made this a lot easier. It's still done through scripting, but it's a lot easier. And in a different movie I will show you how to program this in scripting. Important to know is that there's now an ME4 animation object, and you can use that to animate cells. Now I will give you a few examples of what's possible, and if you want to know more about this, just look out for the other movie about this specific sample. You will see how it's done. I know that scripting sounds daunting, but really it's not, especially not for this. We've made sure that this can be done quite easily. So just to show you what's possible, and there is a border around my objects. I will remove it like this. So now if I press, my apple's moving around the screen. I can use it to make an object bigger like this. I can use it to make things move around the screen. I can use it to move different things simultaneously. I can stop an animation while it's playing. We can move objects relative to their own position. So we can position things on the page if we want. There is a way of executing actions while you're doing the animation. And finally, you can combine this with an animated GIF to even give a bigger impression of animating things. Okay, so again, if you want to know more about how to program these things, just look out for the next movie about this specific subject. Thank you for listening. That concludes our little overview of the new features of version 4.4.1.